Hey guys!
Hey everybody!
It's us again.
It's
Lori and Gary.
Lori, Gary, Lori. Welcome back to our channel. Today we need to discuss something that's really been annoying us. Super. So we live in New York City. Most of our cruises are from New York City just because it's easier for us.
Much easier. It's like 4 or 5 blocks from here, the ports. So easy peasy. However,
6 or 7 months ago, we booked our next cruise on our last Princess cruise. So we have a Princess cruise coming up in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And when we booked the cruise on the other ship, the gentleman that sold us the cruise said, I'm not sure if the ship is leaving from Brooklyn or New York City. So keep
Well, it's all New York City, but Manhattan is Manhattan and Brooklyn is Brooklyn, but it's all New York City. The Queens, Brooklyn.
And there's also another port nearby in New Jersey called Cape Liberty. Mm-hmm. And sometimes cruise ships say, yeah, we're leaving from New York, but it's really Cape Liberty, New Jersey.
Right. So there's 3 ports that leave pretty close to us.
In this area. And then there's also smaller things like in Chelsea for like the dinner cruises and stuff like that.
Yeah, go around Manhattan.
Yeah. So there's a lot of ports here. So when we booked it, the gentleman said, it's either New York City or Brooklyn. I'm not sure. Keep an eye out on the website. So I'm keeping an eye out. And guess what? It just says New York. Leaves from New York.
Which could be Brooklyn or Manhattan.
New York. So I call.
Or Manhattan.
So I call and I'm put on hold for a while. And it's clear that...
Don't you hate that, being put on hold?
Yeah. But it's clear that this is not easily accessible information for the phone attendant. So the phone attendant had to ask around, and finally it was like, okay, you're leaving from Brooklyn. And then I was like, okay, but we've never been to that port. So then I had to ask for the address, and then she had to look that up. And it's like, it's very interesting to me, especially with Princess, that wants you to use their app and like they'll do anything to get you from calling their number. And when you do call their number, the hold times are like 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, she says, he or she will say, I'll be right back. Let me get back to you on that. And then, because that person doesn't know the answer, so they look it up. Then they come back to, oh, sorry, I put you on hold for so long. It leaves from Brooklyn.
Yeah. So,
or Manhattan, or whatever.
I would just think that this common information of where you are sailing from would be on the website or the app. Like,
But it's not.
I don't understand. And we sailed from Florida, and it always says leaving from Fort Lauderdale, blah, 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 and it has the address. Or if it's sailing from Miami, leaving from Port of Miami. But there's 3 ports in New York, and it hardly ever differentiates which port it's leaving from.
Right.
And that reminds us about 2 other incidences we've had. This was with Royal Caribbean. On our first Royal Caribbean cruise, Anthem of the Seas, I think it was like 2017 or
Sounds about right.
17,
18.
We booked the bus to get to New Jersey because that was leaving from New Jersey, and from New York City to take a taxi across state lines. It's pretty pricey.
And it says meeting place, Times Square. Times Square is a 10 square block radius. It's like, what? Meet in Times Square? What are you talking about? Times Square.
And when we booked the bus, the attendant was like, oh, well, just keep an eye out on the website. Guess what, guys? They never updated. It said Times Square till the day of the cruise. A week before the cruise.
Meet in Times Square. What the heck?
A week before the cruise, of course, once again, I called. Once again, the phone attendant had to put me on hold and figure it out. And finally, they found out...
The Westin.
Which is not actually Times Square.
Not even in Times Square.
Times Square. It's a block over, a big block. It's on 8th Avenue.
It's an avenue over, which is 3 city blocks.
And then in 2020, yes, 2020, we took another Anthem of the Seas cruise, and we did the same thing. we booked that bus, and we're thinking, oh, it's probably going to leave from the West End because once again, it said Times Square. So we again waited and waited and waited for the website to be updated. And was the website ever updated? No. It always said Times Square. So we're like, well, it's probably the West End again, but let's just call to make sure. Thank God, because where was it, Gary?
Okay, so we looked it up and we saw the address, and we went to the address, and it was a luggage store.
It was like
a luggage store, a teeny little luggage store, about as big as your average office. A luggage store. So there was about 20 or 30 people inside this teeny little luggage store. And the bus driver had no manifest. He didn't know who was supposed to be there, who was not supposed to be there.
But also, this luggage store was not even in Times Square. It was on like 38th Street or something by like 9th Avenue, which is not even Times Square at all. Like, okay, the West End, fine, one block over. But like 38th and 9th, that's not Times Square. And also,
for those of you who don't live in Manhattan, which is probably most of you, it's way off of Times Square. Way off. It's just, it's not even in the same area. So.
It's just amazing to us that this important information is not on the website. Yes, like I called, but what if you're a tourist and you get in the night before and then to your hotel you're like, hey, I'm supposed to meet my bus in Times Square, and your hotel is like, and then you could even call like the Royal Caribbean hotline, but sometimes you're on hold for a half hour or 40 minutes. What if you don't figure this out till you're running late? And by the way, people did miss that bus on the 38th Street one, and I wonder
if they even showed up.
Because the bus driver didn't have the manifest.
Yeah, he just left.
So maybe these poor people were walking around Times Square aimlessly.
Yeah, with their luggage.
With their luggage. So, that's all from us today. We just want to ask the cruise lines and tell the cruise lines, you guys, New York City is a big city. Come on, a little information. Coming up, we have that cruise in 2 weeks that is leaving from Brooklyn that we know now. We didn't know until I spent 45 minutes on the phone. It's fine. And also, if you enjoy us, if you enjoy this channel, if you enjoy watching our cruise videos, please hit the like and subscribe button.
I know you've heard this a million times before, but it really, really, truly helps us out if you would do that. You want to see more of us, right? Of course you do. Of course you do.
Can you say no to this face? Can you say no to this face? Hit the button.
Hit the button.
All right. All right, you guys. Until the next time, Lori and Gary are out.
See you guys.
See you guys.